For hundreds of years, Jaffa served as an important gateway for goods and travelers arriving in the land of Israel. The city appears in Egyptian documents dating back more than 3,000 years ago, when it was under Egyptian control. Throughout its ancient history, Jaffa was conquered by numerous civilizations. In the Bible, Jaffa appears first in the book of Joshua, where it is described as a city on the border of the tribe of Dan's territory. Elsewhere in the Bible, 2 Chronicles, it is recorded that ships arrived at the port of Jaffa carrying wood from Tyre and Sidon for the construction of the first temple. The Old Jaffa complex encompasses the area where the city of Jaffa was historically located. This district sits atop the Kurkar, sandstone hill of Jaffa, and its slopes, bounded on the east by Yeffe Street and on the south by Louis Pasteur Street, which follow the path of the ancient city's moat. Like most ancient cities, Jaffa was surrounded by walls. However, during the Ottoman period, beginning in 1888, these walls were dismantled to allow for the city's expansion. Following this development, the city spread eastward, including its administrative centers, but Old Jaffa remained the heart of the city. Our tour today begins at the Jaffa Port, a site that stands as one of the world's oldest harbors, with a history spanning thousands of years. Today, while primarily serving as a marina for vessels and an active fishing port, this ancient harbor's significance extends far beyond its modest size. The port's formation was created by the natural features of the coastline. Despite its relatively small dimensions, it has remained one of the city's most important symbols throughout history. For countless generations, the port served as the gateway to the Holy Land for all who arrived here, offering a crucial rest stop for pilgrims on their journey to Jerusalem. In the early 1930s, the British authorities undertook significant renovations of the old port. They deepened the harbor and constructed the warehouses, hangars that we can still see today. Until 1936, Jaffa Port held its position as the country's most important harbor, handling substantial cargo and passenger traffic. However, during the Arab Revolt of 1936 to 1939, port operations were suspended, bringing activity to a near-complete halt. This interruption led to the opening of a new port in Tel Aviv, which absorbed much of the commercial activity. In 1965, with the inauguration of Ashdod Port, commercial operations at Jaffa ceased entirely except for fishing activities. The port, which suffered from years of neglect, is now undergoing extensive renovation and renewal. It has been transformed into a vibrant center for tourism, culture, leisure, and commerce, housing restaurants, cafes, and art galleries. This revitalization process carefully maintains the port's distinctive character as both a working fishing harbor and an active community hub. The Jaffa Lighthouse was first constructed in 1865 as part of the Turkish authorities' initiatives to improve Jaffa Port's facilities, primarily driven by the region's growing export activities. The original structure was built atop a house overlooking the harbor. In 1936, the British constructed the current lighthouse, which rises approximately 29 meters above sea level. The lighthouse's history features a remarkable family legacy that began in 1875, when an Armenian keeper from Jerusalem took charge of its operations. Around 1938, his son was trained to succeed him, while his grandson, Abu George, served as the technician responsible for keeping the light burning. The son continued as the official keeper until the lighthouse ceased operations in 1966. The prominent rocks jutting from the sea before us are known as the Andromeda Rocks. What we observe today are merely remnants of what were once much larger formations. The British reduced their size through explosives as part of their harbor expansion efforts. The rocks derive their name from an ancient Greek legend, the tale of Andromeda. According to the myth, the beautiful Andromeda, daughter of Queen Cassiopeia of Jaffa, was offered as a sacrifice to Cetus, a fearsome sea monster, in order to save the city's inhabitants. She was chained to these very rocks near the harbor, awaiting her fate. However, before the monster could claim her, the brave Perseus arrived, mounted on Pegasus, the winged horse, and slew the sea creature. Jaffa's historical trajectory reflects its significance as a vital Mediterranean port city across multiple empires. During the Byzantine period, it flourished as a prosperous harbor and commercial center, serving as a bishop's seat and gateway to the Mediterranean ports. The city's fortunes shifted with each ruling power. Under Arab rule beginning in 636 CE, Jaffa declined as Ramla rose in prominence. The Crusader period saw the city fortified and integrated into the county of Ascalon Jaffa, serving as Jerusalem's primary port. Control alternated between Crusaders and Muslims, with notable rulers like Richard the Lionheart and Saladin fighting for the city. Under Mamluk rule, Jaffa maintained its port status but faced destruction in 1330 due to fears of another crusade. The Ottoman period initially brought little change until the 1654 establishment of the Latin Hospice by Franciscans sparked permanent settlement. The 18th century saw Jaffa develop into a walled city with diverse populations. The 19th century marked significant growth with new Jewish neighborhoods, the Jerusalem Railway, and development beyond the city walls, culminating in the founding of Tel Aviv in 1909. The alleyways of Old Jaffa carry the names of celestial zodiac signs, reflecting the city's ancient connection to maritime navigation and astronomy. The Zodiac Alley perfectly embodies the essence of Old Jaffa's character. Intimate, densely packed, and picturesque, lined with artists' galleries where the refreshing sea breeze carries the distinctive scent of the Mediterranean. One of the most striking architectural features from the Ottoman period are the wooden balconies that protrude from the building walls. These structures served both aesthetic and practical purposes. Beyond their architectural beauty, these balconies were ingeniously designed to take advantage of the sea breezes. Residents would use them as natural refrigeration spaces, storing food items where the cool maritime winds could help preserve their provisions. These elements, the Zodiac-named alleys and the functional wooden balconies, exemplify how Old Jaffa's architecture harmoniously blended practical needs with cultural symbolism, creating the unique atmosphere that still characterizes the neighborhood today. Our next stop is Kedumim Square, the central plaza of Old Jaffa. Kedumim Square was established following the events of 1936, which began with the Arab strike at Jaffa Port. After fortifying themselves in the old city, Arab residents began firing outward. The British Army, inexperienced in alley warfare, decided to suppress the rebellion and take control of the old city. They ordered Arab residents to evacuate their homes. After confirming the buildings were empty, the soldiers demolished them, destroying over 200 houses. The residents were left homeless, and the previously densely populated area became a wide square. The operation was named Operation Anchor, after the shape formed by two roads cut through the ruins. In the late 1960s, Kedumim Square was constructed over the central excavation area in the heart of Tel Jaffa. The excavation became possible after clearing the ruins from Operation Anchor. The dig revealed remains from various periods, including Hasmonean structures, Philistine pottery, and Egyptian artifacts. In 1993, it was decided to roof the excavation. The covered excavation area beneath the square created a large space connecting the Summit Garden in the east to Old Jaffa's alleys in the west. The main structure under the square houses the Old Jaffa Visitor Center, featuring an exhibition depicting Jaffa through the ages and a gallery chronicling the city's history across different periods. The square is surrounded by buildings typical of Jaffa's architecture, some now house restaurants and souvenir shops, and it features the Zodiac fountain, with sculptures representing the different astrological signs. The square was named Kedumim, meaning ancient times, due to the numerous archaeological remains from ancient periods hidden beneath its modern paving. In part 2 of our Old Jaffa exploration, we'll discover the Summit Garden with its breathtaking views, explore the iconic Clock Tower Square, and wander through the vibrant markets east of the Old City. Join us on this continued journey through one of the world's oldest port cities, where each corner tells a story of ancient trade, diverse cultures, and modern revival.